Hello, this is Inside the Press Box with Sunil Sunder Raj for the Everyday Fan Sports. I'm happy to be speaking with Greg Herenda, the head coach of Fairleigh Dickinson University men's basketball. Coach Herenda, thank you so much again for taking some time out to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Sunil, thanks for having me, man. This is a treat for me. I've heard a lot of great things about you. I know Coach Hall did a great job last week, so I'm pumped up.
Thank you, Coach. I said I wanted to ask you. I believe entering your ninth season there. I said as the Knights head coach. I wanted to ask you. Just with this current, team. The 2021-22 season. It's a young team. Just looking at this roster, Coach. I think just only one senior on this team. Said just what your expectations are for this year's crop of players.
I think, Sunil, it's like every other year. I mean, we want to win a championship. That's our goal. It's a lofty goal every year because the league is very, very talented. There's a lot of good coaches, and it's hard to do. But I think. We won the thing in 2016, and we were the third youngest team in America. Yeah. This year, I think we're close. I mean, we have a senior, but our senior, quite honestly, used to be a mascot, and now he's a walk-on. So it's, we're really young. Yeah. We have, 7 or 8 freshmen, 3 or 4 sophomores, 1 junior, and 1 senior, and the junior and senior have never started a game. So it's a young team, really talented. We just got done with our summer jam. We had these guys in for like a 3-week stretch, and I love the team. I say that every year, yeah. But it keeps getting better. Our culture, our system, our intensity, our just the personalities that we have, Sunil. If you ever, I'd love for you to come up and see a practice. Most of our practices are open to the public and to the media and so forth, but it's a really talented. I think we're going to be better defensively. We're going to be deeper. We lose great players in Jaleel Jenkins and Elijah Williams and Xavier Malone-Key and Oscar Okeke, but that's the nature of the business now. So yeah. If you dwell on what you lose, I think you're missing the picture. And I think what we have coming in is, some great players, but those guys, helped us, make history, win an NCAA tournament game in Dayton, Ohio. But those guys moved on to great places, Stony Brook, Northwestern, Oregon State. So we're doing our job, and they all graduated on time, and it's it's a good place to be. And I'm glad, Sunil, to be honest with you, that like we're not picked first or second. This like for the last 5 years we've been picked in the top, and we've won it 2 out of those 5 years. But it's good to come in as a team that's probably maybe not going to be looked upon to do great things early, but I really love the group.
That's great. I wanted to ask you just with the 2019, this 2020-21 season, this past season. So, I mean, of course, the challenges, with COVID, Coach Herenda, just can you just sum up just, what it meant to, coach through that period of time?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I think everyone, went through it in some way, shape, or form in NCAA athletics, not only basketball, but, in every sport. Yeah. But specifically to our program, we had 2 players, make a decision with their families to opt out, and they were 2 starters. Our starting 2 guard, Devin Dunn, a great player from Washington, D.C., and Xavier Malone-Key, who's now in the Pac-12, both opted out. And then we had a number of guys get sick. Yeah. And a number of guys, no one was hospitalized, but we were tested every day or every other day. Our travel plans were different. Our routines were different. And it was difficult, and but I think everyone's in that group. But we could have had a different year, I think, if everything was normal, for sure. But guess what, man? This world is not normal anymore.
Yeah.
It's a world that changes and has, a lot of things going on in it. And thank God we have college basketball for these guys to be able to play and to go to school and go to a great university and compete in a really, really good conference. So last year was tough. I'm trying not to look back. And now, it looks like, things are not turning totally free from, the pandemic. And that concerns me and concerns everybody. But I think we're, I think and I pray and I hope that we're, getting it behind us and we'll have a relatively normal season in 21-22.
No, definitely, Coach Herenda. I wanted to just backtrack to there was the 2018-19 team, I said that went to the NCAA tournament, and also, again, shared the Northeast Conference championship. You said 21 wins that season, the highest in the in program history. I mean, that was a special season, Coach, especially a group of players. I mean, I think during that season also you picked up, registered your 200th career win. I mean, when you look back to that year, what you were able to accomplish as a program. I mean, just what comes to your mind, Coach Herenda?
I just think it was a culmination of a lot of people's hard work and determination, and it was just one of those years, Sunil. Like, and I think if you go back a year and a half, not even a year and a half, 13, 14 months before that, I was hospitalized with 2 blood clots in San Antonio and was in really poor condition. And I just think that's what our program's about. That's what collegiate athletics is about from a player's perspective and a coach's perspective is, perseverance.
Yeah.
And then we just got hot, man. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I look at our stats. I'm not an analytics guy, but I look at our statistics and, it sounds like it's very basic, but we just shot the ball well in February and March in 16 and in 19. And that was the difference. Our defensive numbers were relatively the same, but when you make threes and you make your layups and you make your free throws, it's a different game. And it's really that basic. And, and then the whole ride for Darnell Edge and for Mike Holloway and Jaleel and Elijah Williams. And it was just tremendous. And then going to Dayton and winning a game where the school's never won a game, and very few teams in our conference have won a game and gotten into the first round where you play a Gonzaga out in Salt Lake City, and it's just the experience for the university and for our players and our families. And that's the good thing and the bad thing, Sunil, is now when you taste that, when you get on that charter to Dayton, it's great. But then when you go from Dayton to Utah, I mean, it's a drug, and you need it and you want it because you've tasted it. And the good thing about this year's team that's different than last year's team is no one has tasted that on the team. So the hunger that they have is strong. And the hunger that we have as coaches is strong because this is our profession and this is what we do. And this is how we're evaluated. And I tell our players all the time that you're evaluated by things that you're not supposed to do. Anyone can do, what you're supposed to do. That's a given, but you need to do things that you're not supposed to do. And that's where you'll truly be judged. And we want to do it again. And it's not going to be easy. We have so many good teams in our league, so many good players, and most of the teams in our league, the players stayed this year and our players left. So we're going to have a totally different team, a younger team, but that doesn't deter our goals and our wants and our desires. We're here to win a championship. And I think if you ask every other coach in the conference, that's what they want to do. So we're just looking forward to it. And like I said, I really like my team and I got a good taste this summer. And now I'm taking a week or so or two to just kind of decompress and just get ready for, the year ahead. I'm down in Cape May. Excuse me, not Cape May. We're at Ocean City, although we visited Cape May. I'm a Jersey guy. I love the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
and,
Long Beach Island right here.
Exactly. So it's you gotta re-energize the batteries, man. You know that.
That. Especially as you get older. I hear you. Yeah, believe me. I turned a year older today, so I feel it. I'm happy to be kicking it off. Speaking with you, Coach Herenda. But I had to ask you. What's so impressive is your consistency in developing winning programs. So that wherever you've been, Coach. And, it said that year, 2018-19, I think was the fourth year the program had, been over 500. I mean, can you just talk about that? That's, again, it's not easy, I said, every year because players come and go and they graduate, but you've been able to, that's been one of your hallmark traditions, Coach.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, but I think the reason why it's hard to do every year is because our schedule is so, at this level, the schedule is like this year we open up at Seton Hall, then we go to St. John's, we go to Northwestern, we're going to Virginia, and over the years we played, you name it, man, Kentucky, Arizona, Notre Dame, Iowa, it's Rutgers, it's Villanova. We played so many national champions. But that's part of the business that we need to play those games. And then out of conference, we play really good MAC teams. We played Princeton. No one plays Princeton, and we played them a bunch, and we beat them twice. And so we don't have any nights where we just roll in and say, okay, we're going to, we're FDU and we're just going to win by a lot of points. It's hard. So, but I think our kids in practice every day, Sunil, just really work very hard every possession. We play really fast, really hard for the entire 2 hours and 15 minutes. So in the game, I think as far as live possessions, we play as many as anyone in the country. So it helps us in games. So maybe late in the game, we'll come back and win games because we have so many reps in, and that's our philosophy. We play really hard, really fast, and a lot. And, but this year's team needs to specifically just be a better defensive basketball team. And I think we really have the athletes and the length and the desire. And I've got to coach them up a little better defensively because, we run and we score, but you got to stop and you got to rebound. And I think we're equipped to do that. And I'm looking forward to getting back with this team. But consistency, man, it's just work. It's work and staying, and it's grinding it out, and it's not easy. And I'm not I'm a good radio interview, but I'm not an easy coach, so I'm a demanding guy, and I'm, and the players have to understand, like, if you want to play at a championship level, guess what? You just can't roll it out and just go up and down and do what you want to do. You have to adhere to the philosophy and the techniques that we employ, but our guys do it, and that's why we've been relatively successful, and now we need to get back there again.
Yeah, no, that's true. Just have a couple more, Ken. Thank you for the time, Coach Herenda. I was thinking about playing. Said that out of conference schedule. I think you and Pete Carell, said who coached at Princeton. I don't know if it was your first season, Coach, that you defeated both Rutgers and Seton Hall in the same season. Can you talk about that? I mean, how good that felt? I mean, said being able to defeat those programs. Yeah.
It's a great story. I mentioned before we played Arizona, and that was my first Division I game. We played Arizona back in the day when they were number one out in Tucson.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the score. It was 100-50, and not like 101-62 or 98-61. It was 100-50. And I just, on the plane ride back, I'm like, oof, this is not going to be an easy gig here. And I realized that, like, right there, we had some good players my freshman year, Sid Sanders and Matthias Salon. And I realized, though, like, man for man, we weren't as good. So we played a zone and we worked on it for a week or two. And the next thing you know, we go to Rutgers and beat Rutgers. Matt McDonald, the kid that transferred to Penn, made a huge three. Sid Sanders gave him the ball. And then that was on a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Then we played Seton Hall on a Sunday and then beat Seton Hall in the Rock. Yeah. And it was like, okay, we've got something here. And then someone, I don't know, our sports information director was like, you were the only other coach to do what you did was Pete Carrill. And I'm like, please do not print that or tell anybody, because I don't want to be compared. Carrill is, to everyone in college basketball, as a Hall of Fame coach and just a great, great pioneer of the game. But yeah, it was good. And I think that made our program, we didn't win a conference tournament game. We made the conference tournament, but it made our players realize, guess what, man, we can do this at an early stage. And that was our barometer. The next year, Sunil, before we won it in 16, we lost 15 straight conference games. And it's funny, I tell this story all the time. And people said, how did you go through that? And I'm like, well, when I was going through it, I always thought we were going to win the next game. So I never felt like, you know what I mean? Until you look back, I always thought, okay, we're going to get these guys. And that was a really young team. And that was the team that wound up winning the championship the following year. So I think you, just like anything else, man, in the state of New Jersey and in this world, even yourself, look at your life. You've got to pay your dues to get somewhere. No one's going to hand it to you. You have to get up and start your podcast and start your day of work. And no one's, my last name is not Krzyzewski. I didn't play for Dean Smith or anybody like that. I'm a Jersey guy that followed his dream. And I think that's why we sit here right now, on a Tuesday morning down the shore, knowing that, guess what, man, life is good. And you just consistently try to follow that dream. And I'm living a dream, man, just to go to the tournament, coach my guys, and be a Division I college coach is an absolute blessing. And at the age of 60, I have the energy and the excitement of a 16-year-old inside. I really do. And, and that's, I think I get that from my players. My players are young, energetic, and I follow them and they follow me, and it's a good synergy.
That's great. I don't want to forget about your coaching staff. Said new assistant coach, Brandon Hall, Pete Lapis. I mean, it said that they play, said a critical role as well. Can you just talk about them as well? Just what they mean to you. Said being there on the sidelines, coach.
Yeah, just like our team, we got a really young staff. Like Brandon is just cutting his teeth now in Division I college basketball. He's well trained at Seton Hall, coaching with Grant Billmeyer, who was one of my assistants, and for Kevin Willard, who is one of my good friends and a really, really good coach. So, and Brandon played at St. Peter's, was a tough, hard-nosed. I don't know if I've never seen him to this day still take a shot. I don't know if he can shoot it, but but he's a great defensive player. He's an old school grinder, and to find young guys that are grinders these days of immediate self-fulfillment is a hard thing to do, So, and then Pete Lapis is my, he's my right-hand man, and he's got it in his blood. In his genes. His dad was Steve Lapis, who was the head coach at Villanova and won the first Big East championship in the school's history, and coached in Manhattan and coached in the Bronx and Fort Lee High School. So I always try to surround myself with really good people that just have been in the game for a long time. And Grant Lee was a great player at St. Pat's. And now, Grant Billmeyer was a great player at St. Pat's. Then went on to Seton Hall. Dwayne Lee was a great player at St. Anthony's, then at St. Joe's, and he was with me, then up at St. Bonnie's, and now at Quinnipiac. And I've just had, really, really good people around me that love the game, and it's really a family. It's not always a perfect family, because it's hard, man. You work and you grind, and it's not an exact science where everything is going to be in the perfect place. You have to worry about kids recruiting good players, making sure they're academically maximizing their talents. They're off the floor. They're growing up and becoming men. And we've had, like, I don't know, in 8 years, we've had 14 guys sign pro contracts. And Sunil, the one fact that we have is since we've been, and I've been at Fairleigh Dickinson, every player that we've recruited and that has graduated has gone to the NCAA tournament. And that's something that I'm really proud of. Every single player that we've recruited and that has stayed in grad. Now, some guys have left and still gone to the tournament, but the guys that stayed for 4 years have all gone to the NCAA tournament at least once. And Mike Holloway and Darnell went twice. And so graduating, going to the tournament, and getting jobs for our guys is really important. And this summer we had them come back. We had a family day, July 22nd, and we had Darian Anderson come back, and D'Andre Roden, and Caleb Bishop, who played at St. Anthony's. We had all these guys come back, and now, it's we're getting really close to again signing another coach that was a former player to our staff, which is going to come out soon. So it's kind of a great cycle that we have going on, and I'm proud of it. I think it's all coming full circle.
Yeah, I mean, you can't underestimate the role of a student athlete. I was going to say that looking at the notes, 2015, I think 16, said Northeast Conference, said team GPA award. I mean, that was, and then I think National Association of Basketball Coaches Team Academic Excellence Award. I mean, those, you talk about, those accolades. I mean, those, for you, coach, have to mean, a lot. I mean, to see, the team perform at such a high level academically.
Yeah. And that was probably the biggest, when I was hired by David Langford, the athletic director, that was the number one thing. We had to just change the academic and really the deportment of our program was a little bit shaky at that time. And our APR was in trouble, our GPA, and we won the highest GPA twice in the league. And we've had a lot of good student athletes win NABC court awards and all that kind of stuff. And I just think, that's a credit to the university, to the professors, our academic advisors, but our coaches. We break up our players into pods, and our coaches know when they're taking exams and when they're getting grades back and presentations and so forth and so on. So it's a team effort, and it works, and it's really great to see young men become men and move forward academically, and now they're having babies and having lives of their own and professions of their own. And that's the real cool part about coaching a long time.
Yeah, I don't want to also forget, you said athletic director Bradford Hurl, but can you talk about, him, and just, again, you alluded to, the support from the administration as well, Coach Herenda.
Yeah, our administration, when you mentioned Brad, when Brad got the job, we went on and won 13 out of 14 games, and he came on the ride with us. And that was exciting. And that's, every basketball program has people that's behind it. And it's such a necessity to have people that support it on the floor and off the floor and behind the scenes. And Brad has been at great programs at Penn and Georgetown, Northwestern, Sacred Heart, and now we're very lucky to have him. And Chris Capuano is our president, who just loves sports and is all into it. So it's man, it's a team, and I'm only a part of it. But the biggest part of it is our players. That's the key, is to get the great players and get the great kids. And our players, Sunil, and this, come from St. Anthony's and Bergen Catholic and St. Joe's Montvale, St. Joe's Metuchen, and they're local. For the most part, they're more private, schools that kids kind of get it and have been brought up in a culture of winning, and that's kind of been our recipe. Down in DC, we go down to St. John's Collegiate High School, which is it's a great football, basketball school, and we got 3 really good players from there. So so we're not going to change the formula that much. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But we always got to continue to improve it, and that's and the big part of that is having to answer your question is having the administration, behind us in every facet, and that's crucial to our future success.
And I don't want to forget also about the facilities as well. Playing at the Rothman Center. I said you talk about home court advantage. I mean that's been a place again where you've been able to win quite a bit. Can you talk about that, Coach Herenda?
I just love when I was a young coach, man. I went to the Rothman Center for the ABCD camp, and I saw LeBron and Lenny Cook go at it, and I saw Tracy McGrady and Joakim Noah and all these dudes play, and then all the coaches were there. I remember pointing Roy Williams and the great late Lute Olson to a good restaurant, Amarone's in Teaneck, and they loved it and came back the next day. And I think every coach loved that, man. That was like everyone and then the New York media turned out, and it was an event, and it happened at the Rothman Center, And so when I got the job, I'm like, wow, I never ever, for some reason, I never went to those events and saying, you know what, I'd love to be the head coach here. Never. But now that I am, it's my home. I grew up in North Bergen, which is like 9 miles south. And now I live up in Hillsdale, which is 9 miles north. And right in the middle is where I landed. So I've been all over the world and I've been all over the country. But coming home is a great thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading the notes, Coach, and I had to point this out that your relationship with alumni, the revitalization of the alumni basketball suite in the Rothman Center, that means a lot to you, Coach.
Oh yeah, we have a great office set up. Our women and our men's coaches share this suite. And Lee Schulman and Ed Surgeon took me to lunch one day, and they said, "What do you really need, Greg? How can we help you?" And I said, I like the Rothman Center. We need a new locker room, but right away to attract, good players and have a legitimate Division I, we just need to upgrade our offices, and we got a lot of people behind it. And you got to come up and check it out, man. Coach Hall's got a sweet office, and but when I got there, it was just kind of like I felt like I was back in the 70s. We had to move into the 2020s, and now we have tremendous offices, and Brad Hurlbut has really helped in upgrading the facility itself. Our lobby's been updated. Our locker rooms are being updated. So it's like I said, man, it's a really good place, and it's exciting. And we're just we're a Division I university that's in Bergen County. So we're just trying to man, this is, and for like 1/100th of the money, you can, instead of going to the Knick game and sitting like, I don't know, thousands of rows up, you can be on the floor and in the action for, I don't even know this, the seats. I think the floor chairs are the most expensive. They're $25. That's park. That's
bargain.
That's like parking for an hour in New York City. So you get your bang for your buck if you guys come out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey, you're wearing the hat, Boys and Girls Club of Lodi. I want to forget you. Said the work you do with them, and also you have your own sports talk show. It said.
Yeah.
So if you want to quickly, say the Greg Herenda show, I mean, on WFTU 89.1 FM, entering what, is it your 7th year, Coach?
I think it is. I've had like 2 on. Now I'm going to invite you. You got to be a guest. Will you be a guest?
Thank you.
This is how I get my guests. But yeah, the Boys and Girls Club, been 100% dedicated since I was at Merrimack, and Bert Hamill taught me how to give back. And now we also work with the Felician 21 and over program for young adults that need some help getting into the workforce and continuing and being the greatest people that we've ever worked with. And and the radio show is fun. So I tell our people that I'm not just a basketball coach, you know, and I love being a basketball coach, but I love my tentacles. You know, I was the commencement speaker in 2019.
Yeah.
I love to speak and motivate people. I love to live, you know, but being a basketball coach gives you that platform, and being a coach at Fairleigh Dickinson, where you're right across the river from New York City, in the greatest market in the world, to me is something that we need to use more of. And I try to do that. And when I was hired, David Langford and Sean Morrison both said we want you to be the voice and the face of our university. And I said, the voice may be the face. You might have, you know, chosen not the right guy, but I'm in the community, and I love the community. And I think it's a big part. Our players are in the community. Our players act like professional players when they're talking to fans and kids and alumni, and that's part of the whole maturation process, and they do it very well. I'm proud of those guys.
You know, I'm looking at your record. You've coached at a community college. You've coached at Division II. You've been an assistant coach at several places, and then before FDU, UMass Lowell, and you know, everywhere you've gone, you've gone to the NCAA tournament. You've won a conference championship. I mean, when you look at where you started, and now, of course, here you are at FDU now, entering your ninth season. I'm just wondering, like, you know, I said, well, again, what comes to your mind? I mean, just how much you've been able to achieve at every stop, but like where, again, you know, it said starting out at, you know, Elgin Community College,
right.
Coach Herenda.
I just think that as long as your formula doesn't change, it really doesn't, you know, it doesn't. If I were to get an NBA job tomorrow, I would, you know, obviously the NBA game is different, but I've got friends that, you know, Steve Clifford was the Orlando Magic coach, and Tom Thibodeau was a very good friend of mine at the Knicks coach. Those guys all kind of did the same thing. And we were brought up at the same time. We were both Division II, Division III assistants, learned the game from really good people. Then we develop your philosophy, and then you believe in it and follow it. So I just started from square one. I started at Elgin Community, and then I went Division JUCO, Division III, Division II, Division I, you know, and I love that. I love that path. And I love every job was very similar, because guess what? We do the similar thing. So it's kind of, it's what I do, what we do. I've been brought up. My father babysat Frank Sinatra. My grandfather babysat Frank Sinatra. My mother was a great player. My family's athletic. They're competitive. We used to have to fight. You know the deal, Sunil. You have to, in Oradell, you still have to fight for a parking space to go to Rick's, you know, to get your hair cut. Everything's a challenge. And what happens is you either, you know, win or you lose. That's the thing about college basketball. And there's so many more things that, you know, education and graduation and community service, but ultimately it's about winning championships at this level, because you get to the tournament and you get real big time exposure for the university, and it's no matter what people say, it's a great sport, but college basketball is a business, you know, and my job is to win, and we've won enough, but we always want to win more, you know, and the player, but you have to teach the players the rules of life. And that's, you know, the hard work and perseverance and just doing your best all the time. And that rule of law always wins out. And that's what our kids do. And that's why I love our players, and I love my staff and Fairleigh Dickinson basketball. Man, we're really a family.
You know, what's so great is that you graduated from Merrimack College. You got, you know, it said to be an assistant coach at your alma mater, and then UMass Lowell, I think you were an assistant coach as well, and then come back as the head coach. I mean, that's gotta be that full circle moment for you, coach, you know, instead of both of those places.
You know, I started coaching at 22 and I'm 60, so that's 38 years in the business.
Yeah.
Thank God it came full circle, because a few
Yeah.
times it looked like that circle was going to go somewhere
Yeah.
not really good. And to talk to people like you and to be in this state and have a hand in a lot of good people's lives is really important. I'm blessed. I got a tremendous wife
I was just about to say that, wife
and
and son.
son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all good. But right now, you know what? If I don't get to another Zoom, I've got a job and I got to
Okay.
take care of some business. So I don't want to be late,
Yeah.
but I also,
Okay.
I gave you 40 minutes,
Yeah.
Neil.
Oh yeah. No, I
We can go,
appreciate it, Coach.
we
Hey,
can go part two if you want at some
sounds
point,
good.
but I
Yeah.
want to have you on my show. I really do. I think
Okay,
you're an
Coach.
interesting cat. I don't know you as well as I should. I want to
Yeah.
get to know, how you got to where you are, and we'll have some fun on my show. So we'll save
Okay.
some nuggets for the next time we get together.
Sounds good. Hey, Coach, thank you so much again. And, wishing you continued success, at Fairleigh Dickinson, especially this upcoming season.
Sunil, thanks so much. Tell Rick I said hello at the barbershop, man.
All right. Well, thank you.